corporate practice, which has to do with corporate compliance. And this falls under the soliciting work. Then we could have statutory compliance in a corporate organization, a lawyer handling such on behalf of the company. And those are areas I felt would also be explored by a legal practitioner, or could also be identified as an area to look into when you find yourself choosing legal practice as a career. Now, what is the value of internship opportunity? I know that oftentimes internship could be boring to some people if you are forced to choose a legal practice or lawyer as your choosing career. But however, what I know about the experience of internship is that it is invaluable. When you find yourself in the legal profession, internship is invaluable. And that is why most often time, you can never see a lawyer who will not mention or refer to practice and practice at all times, because we never believe that we will be a master. You still continue to practice and practice and practice. And that is why what forms the bedrock of a legal practice is experience. Because once you have the experience here, even though the facts are not the same, peculiarity of facts you come in contact with or you deal with here will be different from the one you deal with if another client comes before you. And that's why oftentimes, if you're able to find yourself going through the process of internship, or you have internship opportunity, you're already gathering the experience that you need as a lawyer. And that's why I've emphasized that the experience an intern invaluable, or intern of legal practice is invaluable. Internship offer, one of the things that internship also offer is gain a first-hand exposure legal practice. And I felt once you have such internship opportunity, while you are still an undergraduate of law, by the time you get into the legal profession, you realize that some of these things you have come in contact with it. All you just need is just the application of law. And then you have a refined skill. I haven't gone through the law school 1-year program. You have a refined skill to apply the law, all the experience you have had during the period of internship. And I also say that internship also build professional network. After you have been called to the Nigerian bar, if you have failed to go through the process of internship, such person will want to start it like a fresh graduate. But if you had gone through the process of internship, you would have familiarized yourself with the movers and shakers of the profession. And that's why mentors is also very, very important in all career and not peculiar to this profession. Because once you have a mentor, what you realize is that you do not necessarily need to have a physical mentor. You could actually have a mentor that you read about them. Maybe I'll give you a practical example. When I started as, hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Yes. When I choose this profession as a legal practitioner, the likes of Oleola Nipekun, Afebalola happens to be my mentor, though not physical mentor. How did I choose them as my mentor? I read about them. I read their books, I read their biography, and see how they have come about to become what they are in the legal profession. And through that, that helps me a lot. And funnily, like I've mentioned, the internship, my parents' house is beside the High Court. And oftentimes I'll just walk into the High Court, sit down at the Galleria, and be watching how lawyers address the courts and how they make their submission. And that is why today I choose area of discipline in the core practice of law and not just corporate compliance or in-house counsel. That's why I've chosen that. And that's why my emphasis has been that for one of the major factors that we need, or as an aspiring lawyer or an aspiring choosing a lawyer to be, is that you must consider networking, must also consider mentorship when you are choosing a legal practice as your profession. Now, going into the specialization and continuing legal education. Well, the legal practice is a very, very competitive job market now. And that's why we see a lot of people bringing the idea of specialization. If you are called to the Nigerian bar, you are called to the Nigerian bar to practice in all areas of law. You are called to the Nigerian bar as a barrister and solicitor of Supreme Court. You are not called to the Nigerian bar to solely be an in-house lawyer. Even though if you choose to be an in-house lawyer for a company or a corporate organization, you cannot at the same time practice as a private practitioner. A private practitioner solely, they appear in the courts, they do all the soliciting job for either a private citizen or even a corporate organization that engage in-house lawyer. That's where, when the issue of external solicitor arises, when you see our in-house lawyer cannot handle it because it's an in-house counsel that cannot practice as a private practitioner. So in essence, you are called to the Nigerian bar, you can practice as a private practitioner, you can engage yourself in full practice whereby you do your soliciting job, which is you engage in buying property on behalf of the client, also engage in selling property on behalf of the client.
Hello, we can't hear you again. It's gone really low again.
Hello.
It's gone really low again. It's still really low. It's still really low. We can't hear you. Yeah, we can hear you now.
I was talking about specialization and continuing education. That takes me to identifying a private practitioner, legal profession, and an in-house counsel to an organization or a corporate organization. And for a private practitioner, he or she has the full leverage to practice in all areas of law without specialization. But for an in-house counsel, the limitation has to do with you cannot be an in-house counsel and also be a private practitioner. There will be a conflict of interest because it could happen that some of the parties who instituted the action against the company that engaged your services as an in-house counsel could be your relative, could be friends, and that's where the conflict of interest comes up. Now, for a private practitioner, they can exploit all areas of law. But for a young practitioner, and the trend of what is happening now in the legal profession, which is by way of advice from my end, I would suggest that what is worth doing is worth doing well. You should specialize. Because the area of law that we have now is so wide that you have to be an expertise in one and you should be known for one. You want to be a corporate practitioner whereby you get incorporation done, you do post-incorporation, you do trademark, you ensure all the corporate compliance on behalf of companies, individuals, private citizens, then an area of specialization, which mostly we refer to it as compliance and other relevant or ancillary things connected to compliance. But for litigation, which is oftentimes when you have disputes between two parties, that requires such practitioner to read wide. And that requires such practitioner to identify technicality most often time. And you have to tilt towards what the position of law is at that material time. That is for the specialization. Now, moving to continue legal education. Learning never stops. As a lawyer, you have to continue to learn. That's why I said earlier that with the trend of things happening in society, it's better for a lawyer to specialize now because the areas of law or law generally is very, very wide. And once you specialize, you will be known for what you are good at. And that's when the issue of, or the idea of continuing legal education comes. And how do you go about it? You attend seminars, you attend, what's it called? You take courses, and thank God for the technology who has made it easier. You can take some short courses in relation to law or the area you have chosen to specialize. And that will make you better or be ahead of other people who have lumped everything together. At the same time, is into ADR, at the same time, into litigation, at the same time, if register company, at the same time, it does all sorts of things as a legal practitioner, even though the law permits him. Because once you have been called to the Nigerian bar, you are a barrister and solicitor of Supreme Court. You are called to the Nigerian bar's barrister and solicitor of Supreme Court. Now, workshops, you could attend it. Professional development program is also essential to stay abreast with the legal development happening. Now, how do you stay resilient and determined in this legal profession? It's very, very important because sometimes the going might get good. Don't let me use the negative because from my own practical experience, I've realized that the resilience has to do with consistency. Yoruba will say, ẹni tó bá ń wá owó kò kí ń rí owó. Apology for those who are not Yoruba among us. What it means is that once you are consistent, the money will run after you. Because your consistency period is what will make the money to run after you. And that is why if you choose to specialize, be consistent with it. If you did not choose to specialize, be consistent with being available to your client and know your onions as a legal practitioner. So, resilience and determination. Once you believe that this profession you have chosen, you are not invited in there. You choose it personally. You choose it because you love it. And you choose it because you have the passion for it. Then it's a leeway for you to get to the top of the profession. And what is the top of the profession? I'm talking to you here, I'm aspiring to get to the top of it because I want to be a front seater. And who are the front seater in the legal profession? I will tell you. The judges of the appellate court, the judges of the high court, and the magistrate. When you find yourself in a gathering of legal practitioners, you realize that most times
Hello, we can't hear you again. I think it's gone low again.
hello?
Yes, we can hear you again.
Okay. I was talking about being at the top of the profession. Often, those who are at the top of the profession, most times, are regarded as the front seater. Who are the front seater in the profession? Judges of the appellate court. What did I mean by the appellate court? They have the Supreme Court, which is the apex court in Nigeria. They have the Court of Appeal that follows suit. And we have the High Court, which is also a court of record. It could be state high court, it could be federal high court. We also have the customary Court of Appeal. Those ones falls within court of record. And those are the front seater in the profession. Being on the other side of the profession, which is being a legal practitioner, the front seater are usually the senior advocate of Nigeria. It's a different thing to be called to the Nigerian bar, and it's a different thing to be at the peak of the profession. Oftentimes, we all pray to be at the peak of the profession, having sacrificed so much, being consistent, showing resilience and determination to ensure that you get to that peak of the profession. And once you get to the peak of the profession, money will not matter. It is that name that will matter, the name and integrity. Because you can never see a judge running after money. You can never see a senior advocate running after money, because at that material time, money will be running after him. And in fact, they will be at the center of negotiation on most occasions when they are talking of briefs or what their legal profession will be. And the juniors who are yet to be a senior advocate will stay back to hear what their sharing formula will be. And that will be determined by those who are front seater. So that is for the resilience, determination to get to the top of it. And in conclusion, now that will move me to conclusion. I have identified earlier that the possible way to find success in this profession is networking, internship, then resilience are also essential to build a successful legal career. Doing all this and putting all this together, I'm sure whoever that choose to be a legal practitioner will get to the top of the career and end up being a front seater in any occasion that such person find himself, him or her. So, but the career to me is a very rewarding career if you choose to be a legal practitioner. But when you get the reward, when you become front seater, we are all working for money. We are all working for money. So some work for passion, but most of the time, for those that work for passion, it's a multi-potential passion. So most often time, we all work for money. And when we are choosing career, we don't choose career based on money. And that is some of the mistake some of the people that find themselves in the legal profession are doing today, because most people that choose legal practice, they choose it because lawyer get to be paid well, lawyer get to charge high, and people tend to recognize them in the society. It is no longer the case until you choose to protect your integrity, consistent, and you show resilience in the profession. Then get to all these points, you have to ensure that you have a good internship from day one that you choose to be a lawyer, and you also have a strong networking. And finally, you choose both physical mentor and non-physical mentor. So all these put together will assist to have a defined legal. So I will make some recommendation. That recommendation would be that start the networking early. Whoever that wants to choose legal practice as a career, start the networking early, make connection with people in the legal field. I know we have various mentees here, although most of them are not part of this section, but it's good to make connection with people in any career, make connection with people in that field. Then start building your work experience early, irrespective of the career you choose. It will be of great and immense help when you end up being whatever you want to be in life. Then embrace a lifelong learning opportunity and continually align your career goal to the evolving trend in the industry. What that means is that I personally, beyond being a legal practitioner, I also want to explore the area of cybersecurity, just to add up to the knowledge of law that I already have, because the world is evolving. It might not necessarily be that my device security is being threatened or my bank account is being threatened, but I could need that knowledge of cybersecurity to prosecute a matter. And these are things I know that it helps when we find ourselves cross-examining witness in courts. So I think at this point, I'm going to draw the curtain. And if there's any question from the mentees and participants of this section.
Wow. Thank you so much for this, barrister. Uh, I've been writing all the since we started this session. So, so many things to pick out from this session. And I've been posting them as well while I've been taking notes. Thank you very much for this session, and thank you for your time. Before we go into the questions, just a few things I've highlighted is once you get to the peak of your career, money will not matter, but your integrity. And when you are choosing your career path, when you already know which career path you want to go for, you need to start networking early in that field, make connections with people in that field, and start building your work experience. And in fact, those three things are really key in getting started in any field. It's very, very important. And you mentioned as well that internship is very important, which is one of the ways where you can do the three, where you can network, connect with people, and really build the experience. But if you've not been able to go for internships while you were doing your undergrad, the best thing to do is also to get like a graduate trainee, a training program, something that, even though they are not paying you for your value yet, you are at least learning as much as you can, and you are building that network. So at the start, maybe you shouldn't think too much about how much it is that you're going to get from it. And like Barista said, thinking too much about the money in a career path uh, it's not, it's not advisable, as I said, because a lot of people go into law, for instance, because lawyers get paid a lot and this and that. But at the end of the day, they are not quite passionate about it, or they're not satisfied. So they tend to struggle when things are not going well. So yeah, and it said also embrace a lifelong learning opportunity. So just to continue learning in any field, aside from law as well, in any field, you have to continue learning. I think Mentor Julius said the same thing as well. So you have to keep up to date with what is going on with the new developments. Because people will ask you questions, especially, as a lawyer, you're meeting a new client and they're talking about maybe crypto laws or a new law, and you're like, I'm not really sure. So, it gets really, if you don't know your onions really, they don't take you seriously, and you might not be able to go far. Just like Mr. Mentor Julius said as well, that your students will start getting masters, PhD, and you're still on HND, that's what you want. You want them to surpass you, but you also want to match up. You want to get as much knowledge as you can so that you can help more people. You can be like, you can really uh, have that wide experience in your field. So, yes, do we have any questions before Barrister leaves? Anyone that wants to ask any question? I think the session was very self-explanatory, and it really delved into a lot of areas, which is great. But do we have any questions before we let our able lawyer go? You finally opened up your video.
Yeah, I've opened it up so that members of this section will be able to
Yeah.
identify the person behind the voice.
Okay.
So
We have two questions. So we have two people raising their hands. We have Atta Solomon and Greatness. So we go with Atta Solomon first. Uh, yes, Atta, do you have any question? Oh, was it? Oh, whoa, 1 second.
Okay.
Sorry, that's not you, is it? It's actually it's Greatness and Mentor Aditya. So we'll let Mentor Aditya go first, and then Greatness after.
All right. Thank you for the expose, Barrister Seni. I just want to digress a bit and, and have a good laugh. You know, when we're growing up, it's always the notion that lawyers must be in one court or the other because it's not easy to deal with cases in court and all, and all that. Can you share a bit of your experience? Maybe you are in one Ogoni or something, just to have a good laugh.
Okay. Well, it's a good question because I wouldn't know who is aspiring to become a lawyer here and who must have been fed with such idea. But while I was growing up, in fact,
Line is really low, Barrister. We can't hear you. We still can't hear you. Are you speaking? Because we can't hear you.
hello,
Yeah, we can hear you now.
can you hear me clearly now?
Yes.
Okay. So, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Yes. So I was saying that while I was growing up, the good thing is that I have a parent who had a matter. My father used to have a civil matter at the High Court, Ota Division, Ogun State. Then, so that has exposed me to so many things that I see in the legal profession before I was even called to the Nigerian bar. And I could remember I met Yusuf then in Bells University. Then I was also, because this is just a view of digression, I was also trying to spread my tentacles, expand my networking, go to Bells, meet. Then I was in university, I met some students, and that was how I come in contact with him. So, and the funny thing, I came to Ibadan at a point that he has traveled to UK for his master's. And when he came back, we reunite. Now, going to the question that was asked by Mentor Adetayo, it is not the true position that if you want to choose a career in legal profession, you must aspire to be a member of one Ogboni or the other. It might be true that those who started the profession in the West here started as Ogboni member because Ogboni is not created for the legal profession, but it was created for the top class of the society. Then, now, the legal profession haven't been regarded as one of the top professions in our society here. In the Southwest here, they tend to tilt towards that. But with the civilization, nobody regards Ogboni as a major factor to become a legal practitioner. Because what a lot of people regarded as a major factor is networking and internship. So if you choose or someone consider Ogboni as what will bring food on the table after he has become a legal practitioner, my brother, what the truth of the matter is that the person will go hungry till the end time comes. Because most of the judges that we have on the bench now even despise that word, not even talk of being a member of Ogboni. And what they use it for then, most of them, because we've listened to some of our seniors who share their experience. What they use it for is just to acclimatize with some of the judges so that their decision will go in their favor. But what they use these days is that they settle most of the cases, Maybe for the merit one, it will be determined in the chamber. For the one that is not merit, and some people have intervened in the matter, they go to club and determine that. But the essence of that is that the court setting has been created that if you are dissatisfied with the judgment delivered by a judge, you appeal to the appellate court, which is Court of Appeal and Supreme Court, because that they believe that if you are dissatisfied with decision of a court, you should have a leverage to appeal to the appellate court. So that answer your question, Mentor Adetayo.
Thank you very much. All right. James, did you have your hand raised at all? Do you have a question? And I think Greatness also raised his hand. Do you guys have a question before we let?
There is a question in the chat box, please.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry, I have a matter that I have to attend to by 3:30. I'm going to LA police station now.
Police station. No problem. So the question is,
let me check
so what should one watch out for, or rather factors to consider while finding an area of specialization in the legal profession?
Okay.
So just briefly.
Okay. In a jiffy, what you should watch out for is when you are finding an area of specialization is your strengths. Do not look at the money or what is actually coming in. Look at the strength. Look at the traction get from that area that you are thinking of. Just like today, we have both lawyers and non-lawyers doing registration, business registration, incorporated, limited, incorporated trustee. You look at it, there are so many traction there, and there's no so much technical knowledge or technical know-how knowledge that you need to do that. So it's not necessary for you to specialize in that area, but it's just an area that you can say, okay, I have it on the side.
Okay.
It could bring in money for me while I'm still trying to find my footing in an area I want to specialize. And while you are specializing, you have to ensure that you have the resources to get the peak of that specialization. Do you have people who will come around and say, this is the area, this is my brief in that area? Why a lot of people are venturing into litigation, court advocacy is